Hey there and welcome back to Dakota News Now. It's time for another edition of Owning Your Outdoors, and joining me as always is Doug Schroeder from Lewis. And Doug, we talked about last week what to do when there's too much water, but then there's another extreme. There's another side to that, right?
Yes, and we've been going through that extreme the last 2 years before this. We've had a lot of dry weather and dealing with a lot of dry situations with our landscape and plants.
And so with all the wet weather that we've had recently, I think people might have, forgotten, hey, what do we need to do whenever it's dry? Because it's so hard to think about it when it's not dry out there. But what are some telltale signs that it's too dry, obviously, rather than looking at the soil?
You can look at the plant itself. If it's yellowing, wilting, or showing black spots, or even browning, you may have a situation of not enough moisture. If you start seeing that, you really need to look at how you planted your landscape. Did you amend the soil? Did you use good quality organic materials? And give the plants a good foundation to start out with. If not, learn from that mistake, and next time when you plant, change that a little bit.
And those are also some signs of too much water too. So it's just a matter of diagnosing which way it is.
Right. You're going to actually need to check with a popsicle stick. Some women don't want to stick their finger into the soil, but you can use that. I just take my finger down to the knuckle and see if there's moisture in the soil. I can judge from that which way I need to go, if it's too dry or too wet.
Part of what you need to be checking for, making sure that maybe the soil is draining properly?
Correct. It needs to be draining properly. Organic material helps that. It helps the soil stay loose, and you get better drainage in your landscape.
Another way that you can help fix that is maybe with a little bit of landscaping and soil amending, right?
Yes. Amend the soil before you put a plant in. That's the beginning point of everything.
And what about fertilizer? Whenever it comes to that, whenever it's too dry, do you need to be thinking about any sort of fertilizer, or is that just whenever it's too wet and it's draining all the moisture or nutrients out?
I think it's more when it's gotten too wet, you might want to give it a little boost. If it's too dry and you've used maybe a slow release fertilizer at the beginning of the season, you're probably okay. When it's too dry, you really just need to correct the moisture content.
All right, Doug, any other tips? I know it's hard to think about since it's been so wet lately, but like you said, the past couple of years have been dry, just kind of as a reminder to people.
Yeah, I think if you've gotten a real dry situation, the first thing you want to do is water well, water long. It's better to water less often, and when you do, water deep so that the roots actually go down deep into the soil. Also, if you're in a dry situation, one of the best things you can do for your landscape is to add some mulch. Mulch things up to keep the moisture that you have around your plants.
And another thing is to make sure you're watering at correct times of day. You want to do it either early in the morning or later in the evening, not during the heat of the day, right?
Correct. You don't want to waste water, because that's what you're doing. If you're watering during the heat of the day, a lot of that's going to evaporation. Give your plants the best benefit of the moisture you're giving it. So do it early morning or later in the day.
The only thing that's getting bigger is your water bill, right?
Correct.
All right. So, Doug, thank you so much. We're going to have all this information online at dakotanewsnow.com after the show. And go ahead and check out your screen, because you can watch previous episodes of Owning Your Outdoors anytime by downloading the Dakota News Now app on any of those streaming platforms. Stick around. We have more for you after the break.